Today we have Russ Turner, a third-year head coach at UC Irvine. Russ, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
2012, 2013, what are your thoughts going into this season? You went from being one of the youngest teams in the nation last year to being pretty veteran. That's got to give you some peace of mind.
Yeah, peace of mind, I guess. It is nice to be working with the guys that we have. And you mentioned that we are more of a veteran team now. We got 4 seniors, and those guys have done a good job. They've worked really hard in the off season. They've shown a lot of physical toughness, which is important for our team to more clearly establish. It's not just been them. I think all of our guys who've been in the program are better as far as that stuff goes. And I'll give credit to our training staff, our athletic training staff, our strength and training staff. They've both done a good job, and our guys have made progress. We are going to continue with many of the things that we did from last year that we showed we could be good at, and I think that because of that we're way ahead of where we were this time last year, and I'm relieved about that. But that certainly doesn't guarantee us anything, and we are also making some changes, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that I think is going to help us. So we've been learning a new mode of playing there that I think will play better to our personnel strengths.
Do you remember last year when you were going into the year and you were thinking, gosh, I have a bunch of young guys on my team, and how are we going to put this team together quickly? Because you really had to. You had a pretty good schedule. You were going to dive right into, Big West Conference play with a very good Long Beach State, UC Santa Barbara team. What were your thoughts before you went into that season, knowing you didn't have quite the experience you wanted?
Well, it was. We were realistic, but we wanted to also project confidence for those young guys, as we knew that was important. And it worked out about the way we thought it might, and that it probably should have. Going in, this time last year, I didn't know if I was going to have Adam Folker at all. So I thought that at this time last year, I was looking at starting 2 freshmen, big guys, and it was just a lot more unknown about that group than there is now, and that is a different feeling. We haven't got this year all figured out either, because we have an influx of young talent again, but we do know some guys we can count on, and that is a luxury, I guess, that I haven't had in either of my other 2 years. For that reason, I'm more confident, and I think our expectations as a team and as individuals are different now than they were last year, and that's also good. But it'll be harder to meet the expectations. Last year expectations were really, really low from a lot of folks, so there was no pressure on us, and it's easy then to only focus on getting better. Now we've got to focus on getting better, and we've got to focus on performing. And I'm eager to see how our whole group responds to those challenges.
You talked a little bit about, the big guys you had last year, and you've worked really hard at adding height to your roster. Mike Best comes back, he's 6'10". John Ryan is now eligible, 6'10". Connor Clifford tops the team at 7 feet. How does that height play into your running gun style that you were implementing in your first 2 years?
Yeah, good question. A lot of people have asked that. I think it'd be wrong to assume that we're just going to continue to play exactly the same style. We played a style that was necessitated by the people we had, and we're still going to continue to be up tempo when we can. The best time to attack offensively is when the defense is in retreat, so we're going to look for those opportunities every chance we can get. But now we have other ways that we can be more balanced, and the size that you alluded to is something I think is going to help us really, on defense more than on offense, but also on offense, because a couple of the guys that we have now, I believe, can score with when they have the ball close to the basket. Going into last season, I didn't know if I had anybody who could, and Adam Folker sort of developed into that guy as the season went on, and he's continued to get better. But now we've got a couple guys we know we can dump it down to, and who can create an opportunity for us to score or get fouled, and that'll be a lot different. So the tempo, I'm not worried about how fast we're going to go. I'd emphasized that for a couple reasons my first 2 years. One was recruiting. We wanted to play a style that would be attractive to better players. I think that we've done that. I'm pleased with this job that our staff has done on the recruiting side. And we're still going to be fast, but I don't think we're going to look at being fast even at the expense of some other things, maybe like we have in the past, because we wanted to get the culture moved in a different direction. I think we're at that point, and now we've got to get better.
You talked a little bit about defense, and you were quoted as saying you liked the individual defensive efforts by your guys, but you want to be better as a team. What type of team defensive schemes are you implementing or looking to do this year?
Yeah, we're making some changes in the base half court defense that we're going to play, and that has to do with what I believe will be, different personnel packages we can use. I think we're going to have times where we're a lot bigger, and we learned that Will Davis is a difference-making shot blocker. I think Mike Best has that potential. Connor's obviously a lot bigger and is going to get some time. So our defensive interior is different. I think what that's going to allow for us to do is be more aggressive on the perimeter and go after teams, push them out a little bit more with the ball, hopefully create some offense with our defense. Last year we were really good defensively, limiting opponents' points in the paint. And that was a big part of what we went into the year knowing our style was going to be, because I thought we were going to have young big guys or small big guys. So we did that as a team, and what we were not good at was we didn't create any turnovers, and we didn't defend the three well. I think that there'll be an adjustment in how we attack the defensive end this year, and that's what we've been working on now. So, the early returns on that are positive. I think our guys all believe in that style as being a better fit for our personnel. How we can execute that will be the question moving forward. We just had our first scrimmage against one another, and our effort is good. Our defensive effort is good. Our execution isn't good yet, and hopefully we can continue to get better every day.
Let's look at your roster. Can you talk about some of the new faces? We've got Dominique Dunning, who has to sit out. I'm told Connor Clifford has a hook shot. And was that something you helped him develop? Did he come in with that?
Well, yeah, okay. If we want to start with Connor, that'd be good. He's a big boy, 7 feet and 2. He's proud right now. He's at 255. He's come down a little bit. He's gotten in real good shape, and I'll give him a lot of credit. He came for both sessions of summer school to work on his body. He's an incredibly smart player. He's a smart kid, but he's also a smart player. I think all of us coaches have been pleased with him there, because it feels like when we tell him something once, he sometimes looks at us and it's like it's got to go through the computer in his head, but then once he has it, it's like he has it. And that's not to say he doesn't make some mistakes, but he is very smart. And he does have a hook shot, a really effective hook shot that I think he can use against a lot of different players, and it should be something that's effective for him even in his first year in the Big West. Against some other older, bigger guys, I don't know if he can get that off now, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's got a chance to be a go-to player in the low post over the long term, and I'm excited about that. And I think our players are excited to have that too. The issue for him is just getting his conditioning to the point where he can really keep up over the course of extended minutes. But I was pleased with what he showed us in his first scrimmage. He's made a ton of progress. I mean, when he got here, he couldn't even run a 9-minute mile, and he's down there 7 minutes, right around the 7-minute barrier now.
That's
so
a big improvement.
Yeah, it's a huge improvement, especially for a player that size. And I think he's going to continue to get better. So I'm excited for him.
Are you happy with the footwork? Did he come in with good feet?
Well, you want to ask about his footwork because of the dance video. I
he was very good in the video.
He's been well coached, and that's a benefit. We knew that when we recruited him, because he came from Ocean View High School. He played for Jim Harris, and we knew he had been well coached. There've been a lot of other guys who've, I think, have had a part in his development too, but the improvement that he's made over the last 2 years has been really remarkable, and he's continued that since he got here. So, our job is going to be to continue to figure out ways to best utilize him and to continue to push him to be better. He's bought into that. He's doing more now nutritionally. He's doing more now in the weight room. He's doing more now with his rehab and his prehab work with the trainers. So he's got a chance to get a lot better in his career here, and I think people around here are really going to be excited to watch him grow and improve.
Let's move on to Ege Mala. He's from Turkey. How did you find him, and what type of skills does he bring you?
Well, I didn't find him. Ali found him.
Okay.
And that's an obvious one if you look at our staff and you know our guys well. But Ege is an incredibly young player. He's still only 17. He's got real good size. He's about my height, and he's a 3-man. And that's an international 3-man. We're trying to figure out now what the best way to utilize him is now, whether we play him at the 3 or the 4 for us. His long-term position clearly is 3, and his feel for the game is exceptional because his dad was a long-time pro in Turkey, and that's how Ali and his dad were really well connected. His dad also was the GM for one of the professional teams over there. So this is a basketball player. He has a basketball mind and an ability to affect the game in different ways. He's going through what is an incredibly difficult adjustment,
Right.
changing cultures and the language barrier and all that. He's a really, really bright kid. He had nearly a perfect score on his math SAT, so he's a great fit here at Irvine. But that doesn't mean he hasn't struggled some getting his feet under him, as a guy who's new, completely new language, new everything. So we'll see how he does. He will. What I know about Eggy is he'll keep getting better, and he's fit in great with our team. He's a really good teammate. I'm excited again for his future, and trying to remind myself that he's only 17.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah.
And
It's really
to
young.
jump into D1 college, like you said, with all
Yeah.
the changes.
Yeah, and physically, physically he's very good right now. He's big, he's strong. He's going to continue to grow that way, and as we get a better feel for how best to utilize him, that'll help him too.
Well, he has the basketball IQs. After that,
Yeah.
it's all gravy.
No, we are very fortunate to have recruited smart players, and you always try to do that. You always think you're doing that. And at Irvine, you're always going to get guys who are smart students, but smart students and smart players are real different things. But we've got some smart players, and I'm excited for that.
Let's move on to Alex Young. He was the star of the video. He a really bright, charismatic kid.
He was the star of the video. I thought
he-
Connor was.
Connor and Alex both kind of carried that
Okay,
little segment
okay.
for us.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah, he's got lots of personality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what type of player is he? Where do you see him?
He's been he's been an excellent player on both sides of the ball so far. And with, as practice has started in our scrimmage, he was one of the top performers. And I'm excited about the different ways that he can impact us. He's physically very strong right now, especially in his lower body, which is the place where a lot of freshmen struggle to fit in. That means that he's good defensively already. And I'm excited about the poise he's shown, the toughness, the physical and mental toughness he's shown. He hasn't been good every day, but the thing I feel like I can count on is if he's not good one day, he's going to bounce back next day and come in with a little something to prove. That's a mentality that I've grown to appreciate over the years I've been in the game. He shoots the ball really well. He's looked good so far, and I think his teammates have been impressed. His coaches have been impressed. He's going to push for playing time, no question.
Reed McConnell's also a new face for a lot of Anteater fans. Can you talk about Reed and what he brings to the team this year?
Yeah, Reed's a player who redshirted last year, and he becomes eligible. I've known Reed for a long time because he grew up in Menlo Park, where I lived, from 2000 to 2010. So I've known him since he was a little guy. But he's physically he really looks good when you see him in his uniform. He's worked hard on his body. He can shoot the ball. He's got an ability to be unaffected by the moment that is really a special quality. Like, you can bring him off the bench. I think if you bring him right off the bench after he's been sitting there for 39 minutes, he gets one shot, he'll probably make it. He's not been practicing yet because he broke his toe, so he's had a bad little bit of luck with injuries, which hasn't given me a sense yet for where he stacks up in the lineup. But I'm sure glad we got him, and he's fit in well with his teammates. He's really popular with his teammates too, and he catches a little heat from the coaches every now and then.
We saw a bit of Travis Souza last year.
Mm-hmm.
How has he improved? What have you liked about his game this year?
Well, the first thing that he's done, and this was his top priority, I think he's improved his body a lot. He has committed to nutrition and to strength and conditioning, and dramatically changed the way he looks and the way he's capable of moving. And he was, last year it was tough for him because he got injured right away. And Ege had a little bit of that happen too. I think Ege was a little bit surprised at the conditioning level of the guys when he got here. So when we were pushing everybody, Ege had a couple of conditioning related injuries when he started. Last year that happened to Travis. This year it hasn't happened to Travis because he's worked really hard. And so he's looked a lot better, this year as a second-year player than he did this time last year. He's got a great confidence in his game. He's one of our best passers and one of our best shooters. And for those two reasons, there'll be ways for me to figure out how to utilize him at times in the games. Travis needs to get better defensively.
And let's round out the list with Colin Woods and Aaron Wright.
Okay.
Aaron was hurt for a little bit. Colin played considerable minutes for UC Irvine. How do they fit into this game?
Okay, I'm glad you asked about both. You know, Aaron, a lot of people have asked about Aaron because he redshirted last year after getting injured in the 9th game. And he's made a good comeback from that injury. There's nothing that he's doing now that shows any effect of that injury, which is really good. And he's a young kid who's really, really talented and has the ability to make everybody on our team better. And he's done that from the point guard position. With his ability to kick the ball ahead, he's a particularly effective pick-and-roll player. Our big guys like playing with him because they don't have to be open for very much time before he gets them the ball. And he's got great size so that he's one of our best perimeter defenders, even though at times it looks like he's not the fastest kid. He's got a knack, and an elusiveness about the way he moves that's really a pretty special thing when you see it every day. He's obviously not had the benefit of all the playing experience that our other freshmen got last year because he only played 9 games. But he has the opportunity this year to really have a special freshman season, a second freshman season. And so I'm excited for him.